So what poem have you written for me today? This is what I'm interested in. Is this going to be a deep one? Do I have to get tissues for this? Oh, let's get the tissue box out. Just going to have the tissue box out, please. And then? No, let's grab the whole box. The whole box.
Whole box?
Yeah, please. Oh, lot of crying today. A lot of crying today. Beautiful. So I do want to first appreciate yourself for bringing this lovely, beautiful daughter of yours. She's going to share her story and her journey in life. If you just want to tell me your name and your age.
I'm Kiarra and I'm only 16.
16. But 16 and full of experience and understanding. And she's on today to share her journey and hopefully connect to all the youngsters that are out there. The souls that are sitting behind the screens that are sad. So I know that you like writing poems.
I do.
Okay. So I want you to read this poem that you've written for me today.
So it's called Redesigned. And it starts this way. I learned too young how silence gets rewarded, how speaking up gets brushed aside. Autistic in a system not built for me, where I was overlooked, unheard, denied. I asked for help, I used my voice, I did everything they say you should do right. But classrooms turned cold and adults turned away, leaving me alone to fight. They wrote policies on paper, but never lived the words they claimed were true. Inclusion was just a poster on a wall, never something they actually knew. I wasn't too much, I wasn't wrong, I just needed space to be understood. But they labelled, dismissed and failed me in ways no child ever should. I carried weights that wasn't mine, expectations I could never meet, trying to fit their version of normal while breaking quietly beneath my feet. Every meltdown judged, every difference used against me, like a flaw. Instead of seeing a struggling kid, they just enforced another rule, another law. So I fought back in the only way I knew, just to prove I wasn't weak, like they claimed, trying to show I was stronger than their labels, but still I was the one they blamed. They called me bad, naughty, like I was the problem they needed to contain, but never stopped to ask why I was hurting or see the pattern in my pain. Now I speak louder, not just for me, but for every kid they pushed aside, because being different isn't the problem, the system is what needs to be redesigned. And if you're hurting like I was, thinking committing is the only way to escape the pain, it's not the answer. It never was. Don't let them convince you to disappear or be erased again. Stand loud, stand firm. Let your truth echo. Don't let it be confined. Your voice is power, and this world still needs your name, just like they need mine.
Oof. That is deep. That is very deep. It feels like a story and an experience and a lived experience filled with everything.
Yeah.
What was going on for your mind when you were writing that?
Well, when I write it, there's not a lot that goes through my mind. It's sort of what flows and what comes to my mind is like what flows and what have I been through that is important for me to speak about for others to know.
What do you feel like people misunderstand or adults misunderstand about youth nowadays?
I think they misunderstand that change is definitely something people can do. They still definitely see me the same as like I used to be, troubled, but they don't ever think that like us troubled kids can change. I feel like when I say to them that I can do things like the right way, they still expect that I'm going to do it wrong. That they have to like watch and make sure that everything I do is right.
It's a constant judgment.
Yeah.
I do believe also youngsters, they are the future, and we need to understand the root cause of why they are so angry.
Yeah. I think the anger isn't just the main thing. I think it's a lot of upset and hurt by like the school systems and the police systems and everything like that. It's like they get judged and that hurts. Like when you judge someone for something they can't help or something they grew up to be that way, the way that everyone expects them to be.
Mm.
They get judged for it, and then it's like, well, I'm doing what I've known to do. Like, people that grow up in, like, bad home lives, or, like, go to schools with people that grow up in bad home lives and see them misbehaving. Like, I think that's what they expect of themselves. Like, that's what everyone else is doing. So I think I have to be the same.
Mm.
So they definitely, when they get judged, it's like, what am I doing wrong?
And they're not really understanding the issue.
Yeah.
How was life growing up for you?
Family life was good. Definitely most of my issues came from, like, the school, other kids and bullying, stuff like that.
Talk to me about bullying and what you experienced, because I think a lot of people experience bullying. And bullying is an interesting one because a lot of bullying comes from the bully comes and bullies the others knowing that he can't defend himself.
I agree.
And that's where the bully feels he's superior until another bully bullies the bully.
I agree.
And then, so talk to me about the experience that you experienced with bullying being young.
Well, what I've experienced being bullied, and I've experienced being the bully. So it's a hard thing. I guess with following what you were saying about them thinking they're superior, usually, like, there's a saying that I used to go by. It was, I wouldn't pick a fight with someone I know I can't win against.
Mm.
So you wouldn't, like, pick a fight with someone you know you're not going to win. You wouldn't on purposely go and jump in a 5v1 because you know you're not going to win. And there again, that's that situation of thinking you're superior by picking on someone younger, disabled, someone that you know you can be. Like, it's the way things are these days. You pick people that you know you can be above. Like, you wouldn't pick someone you're going to lose against.
That you know you can really pick on.
Yeah.
And they can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
That individual that's getting bullied, how's his world? You experiencing bullying when you were younger. What goes through your mind? How does it make you feel?
You just want it all to stop. When I was younger, when I was getting bullied, I just wanted it all to stop. And I would say stop. And I would go to teachers and principals and adults, and they wouldn't help. So when I was younger, the only way I thought I could stop was to try and commit. But I learned that that's not the only way you can stop bullying. Now, as writing my poetry and speaking up, it's not the only way to stop it. I think when I was younger, a lot of things that went through my mind was why? Like, why are they doing this? Why are they picking on me? What did I do wrong? And I guess I never really got that answer. And till today, I still really don't understand the big issue of why bullying's there. I understand part of it, but not the whole thing, because I don't really understand why. Like, it's that one question you sort of ask everyone, why?
Do you feel like people get a thrill out of it when they bully others?
I think some people get the thrill out of it, but I think others will do it and then feel that guilt. And then try and feel that guilt and they're not quite sure how to feel it.
When you were experiencing it in your, how long ago were you experiencing bullying?
All through most of my primary school, year 7, year 8. Still sort of experience it, but nowadays it's more of a, you're going to be mean, I'm just going to block you.
Yeah. It's very strange with bullying. Because there's verbal bullying, there's physical bullying, and they are all very, very dangerous in their own worlds, And it's an issue that needs to be tackled, I think, more heavily with teachers and principals. It goes back to school.
I agree. With going back to the school and the school system having to help with the bullying, I remember when I was in year 7, after I got severely gang bashed, I went back to school after a couple of months off, and I'd see the bullying's bad posters and we don't support bullying, and I'd rip them off the walls and I'd be like, this is not true, you do. Like, in my eyes, I saw my principal as the biggest bully because he wouldn't support and help me.
Really?
I feel like a bully always comes from someone bigger and they learn it from someone. It's not something like you don't just teach your toddler to be a bully.
Mm-hmm.
They see it somewhere or they experience it, and that's usually how they become a bully.
That's strange when, you know, the place you're supposed to be feel safe, which is at school, is no longer safe.
I think you ask most teens what's school like for you, and they'd say it's horrible or it's bad or I don't like it. I don't think I personally have any friends, any classmates that if I ask that question, they would say school's great, I love it. It's not always, I'd say, bullying when they say it's bad. It's the teachers, they don't listen to them when they need help with work and they can't understand it. Or the principal doesn't adjust by their disabilities and don't support them. Or they go out in the courtyard and they don't have any friends and then they can't make friends because, well, I don't want to be friends with you. And then they get bullied. Like, it's not always the same situation for everyone, but I think they all either experience or visualize and see other people in the same situation over and over again.
Mm. When you were reaching out to your teachers and explaining the situations and the bullying that was happening, what was their responses?
Back, not this year and not last year, so a couple of years ago, if I went to the teachers and I said about being bullied or someone picking on me, it was usually stay away from them. Don't go near them. Don't talk to them. Avoid them. But you can't really avoid someone you're in a confined space with. Yes, schools are huge, but you think about it, the world is a huger place, so a school is a confined small space.
Mm.
And you can't really escape a bully these days because you move away from them and then their friends come up to you. Or you go home and they pick on you online. It's everywhere. You can't just avoid a bully.
When you were experiencing the heavy, you know, bullying, how was life there?
So there's a couple of times. In primary school, I was severely bullied. So I would go to the principal and I'd go to the teachers, and that felt like it didn't work. I would go home and I'd talk to my parents, and then they would talk to the principals, and that wouldn't work either. I felt like I was being failed. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like you were being failed for something you didn't even decide to start, like the test.
How was the impact on the mental there?
Mentally, I feel like a lot of things that I enjoyed disappeared, and I felt like my life then revolved around making sure there was nothing they could pick on me for. My clothes, my hair, my face, everything had to be perfect. So everything I enjoyed disappeared, and therefore my mental health went downhill because what I enjoyed wasn't there anymore and didn't make me comfortable.
Mm. What were you doing to survive, obviously mentally? Because, you know, when you get to that level of where you feel really bullied and you're at that lowest, what were you doing to survive? What was some of the stuff you were doing?
I think, as much as it sounds bad for a little kid, I think I was alone. Like, I didn't really have friends. So being alone was much better than being out in public alone. There's a difference. Like, in primary school, I would sit by myself in a room, or I would go and sit somewhere that was like quiet and there was no one else around, because then I couldn't get bullied. And when I'm alone, there's no one else there that can really judge me for anything. I could just do what I wanted. How I felt was empty and lonely, but it felt like a safe place because no one was there.
Do you feel like a lot of young youth do the same as well?
I think so. And when you think about it, I think most of the reason they stay home and lays around in bed, and that's why their parents get mad. But realistically, they're just finding like a coping mechanism by staying alone and away from everyone else, because then they can't get bullied, they can't have issues because they're alone.
Loneliness is scary. It's dangerous. There's good to it to a certain degree, but I think too much time being alone is scary, because that's when your thoughts start to come in.
Definitely.
That's when you really, really isolate yourself, and you start thinking about negative stuff, and the positive starts to really fade away.
I agree.
Tell me about your brother. I know he's a special person in your world, and I know he's experiencing some bullying himself.
Yeah, my little brother, he goes to primary school. So he used to go to a public school, primary school, and he was experiencing bullying. And we'd go to the principals, my mum, myself, my stepfather, we would go to the principals, and there wasn't much help. Like, they would ignore his advocates and my parents who were trying to help him. It's like they didn't want the help. They thought they could do it themselves. And it got bad. Like, adults would pick on him, kids would pick on him, teachers would pick on him. It's like the world is full of people who bully, and it's not just teenagers and kids these days anymore. It's adults, like the people that picked on my brother.
Do you feel like he was misunderstood?
Definitely. I think because his disabilities weren't as visible as other people's disabilities can be, it was like he didn't have disabilities, he was just naughty, is what they saw him as. And I think saying these days bad child and like naughty and disobedient and stuff like that is such a horrible label, because it's not always the case. Like, there's always something behind it.
What do you love about your brother?
He's always outdoors. He never wants to stay inside unless he's playing his PlayStation. But he's very bubbly and he's a very kind person, and I think everyone misjudges him. And I think that's a big thing these days, misjudgment. Everyone misjudges everyone. And that's what happened with him. He was just misjudged. He goes to a new school now, and they're very supportive, and they see him as a person and not just as someone who's naughty or someone with disabilities. He's just a child who can learn and play.
Yeah, and look at things differently and understand who he is as just a person that wants to be loved, cared for, and that's all teenagers want, to be honest.
Yeah.
Love, understanding, spending time with them, and when you strip that away from them, they go out and find it elsewhere.
Yeah.
How are you going these days?
In today's days, I'm going pretty good. I don't have many friends. I have a couple of friends. I think it's better to have a small friend group than a big friend group. I definitely still struggle with friendships and bullying, but not as much as I used to. And I've sort of taught myself that those people that bully aren't bigger than me. They're just another person who's also trying to live life but can't do it in a good way. So I've sort of just seen things differently, and I feel better about myself because I'm getting out there and I'm advocating for myself and for others, my brother, kids at school, my friends. I like having a voice nowadays.
What did you learn about friendships? Friendships, a lot of teens have a lot of friends and they think that these are my best friends and we'll do anything for these friends. But sometimes these friends are bad people.
Something I've always been taught as a little child, and I didn't really understand it, but sort of towards the end of last year and this year, I've definitely understood it a lot more. There used to be a saying that I was told that some people are sometimes friends, weather friends. So they will be your friend on good days and then they won't be your friend on bad days. Or they'll be your friend some days and then when they feel better about themselves, they'll be your friend. It's like an ongoing cycle. Those people who can just easily jump out and say, "Oh, I don't want to be a friend today." Like it's hard, but I've definitely learnt that people have their own voice and their own world. So if you don't want to be my friend, that's fine. I'll just move on from that.
How important is it to have a good circle of friends?
I think it's important to have a good circle of friends, but I do also think it's very important to not always be in your other friend's pocket. By that I mean,
Explain about that a little bit.
what I mean is I have a best friend, and me and her will go on for days without talking, and then randomly we'll just talk again, like nothing ever happened. I think it's very important to have a friend who's not always in your pocket, and by that I mean someone you constantly have to be with, and you can't do anything without them. And it's like if you hang out with someone else or do something else, it's like you're stabbing them in the back. Where my best friend I have, she can go out, she'll go to a party and not invite me, and I'll just be like, okay, cool. You have your own life, I have my own life. And then randomly she'll just message me and be like, can we hang out? And I'd be like, sure. It's good to have a friend that will be there, but isn't always trying to like own you.
It's just the way you've explained that. Very fascinating. What do you love about poetry and what got you into poetry?
So what got me into poetry was actually the movie Ginny and Georgia. I don't know if...
Can we open that? Jules, what is it called? Sorry?
Ginny and Georgia.
Ginny and Georgia. I've never heard of this movie, to be honest.
So it's a movie with this girl, and...
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So this girl, Ginny, she goes through a lot of hard things. Her mother is a murderer. She kills people to protect her children. And her daughter sort of finds out along the way through the movie. And then her little brother finds out. And it's a very good, like, it's a show. It's very good to watch. But in the end, Ginny, so she was burning herself through self-harm. And she started going to therapy and she joined this poetry class. And she lied about who she was and what she's been through. But her poetries were real. And everything she did and said about was real. And it sort of like helped her. She found a new life. She found new friends. She found love. She wrote poetry to express herself. And I don't know, I just sort of, it's just sort of helped me. I watched it and I've seen it before. It was like the third time I'm watching it. And I was like, I want to write a poem. So I read a poem and then it just continued on.
Led into another thing.
Yeah.
And it shows the power of journaling as well. Because I felt like from the poem you wrote for me it's like a story, but it's in its own world.
Definitely.
It shows you the power of journaling. Do you journal much?
I write down dot points. I don't really journal. I used to. I have a couple of like old little journals from like primary school and stuff. I would write down things like, today this happened. Tomorrow I'll not do this. And it was like, I would just write down little dot points, things that would happen.
What tools did you use in your time of bullying? So what were you doing to really maintain and stay positive? Were you journaling, or was it poetry? Was it sports? Was it speaking to the family? You know, and why I ask that is for the people that are out there suffering this stuff or feeling alone, some of these teens, what can they do?
I would love to say I have an answer, but going back that far and remembering those things that happen, I can remember the main things, but things like that I can't remember because I've blocked that part of my life out. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's my autism, maybe it's my PTSD, but it's all fuzzy. I'm not quite sure. And I definitely have answers. I can give you answers, but they're answers I would use today. They're things I would use today, not things I have used before.
What about today? What do you use today? What's some skills, some talents, some of these youngsters that can use that you've experienced?
I definitely use my poetry as one of them. It's always good to write things down. And I wish back then I had written a lot of things down because I would look back on it and I would be like, wow. It would definitely be something that would make people cry, but also something that would like make people be like, this is not right. Like, what went so wrong? Today's day, I definitely use my poetry. Soccer's been good for me because I feel like having a sports is always good because it gets your energy out and you can get that anger out, you can get your energy out, you can get your emotions out, and it's not hurting anyone else. It's not causing pain or trouble or gonna get you in more sticky issues with like the law and stuff like that. It's a way to be free, I guess, without being trapped.
You mentioned the law. How do you see the law, you experiencing and dealing with them?
I straight up just want to say bad, but I know there's some police officers out there that try their best, and some of them have helped me. But there is those few that I think are caught up in the old ways and not interested in understanding what is actually going on. I think with the law, it's definitely something that needs to be improved, just like the school system, but it's very hard. It's, again, that question, how do you improve it? And I don't even have the answers for that because it can be improved so many ways. And I could say, oh, it can be improved this way, but someone else might say, no, don't do it that way, do it this way. And they're both great ideas, but again, it's so hard to juggle so many balls. Like, you can't really justify how to fix something when it's so broken.
Do you feel like the school system is failing youngsters when it comes to bullying and protection?
I do. I think there is some better schools, but I do think every school, no matter where you go, there's bullying, there's trouble, there's those certain teachers that won't listen, there's those principals that don't care, and there's no real answer to how to fix it.
What are some ideas you would implement, would you say, in school systems to really tackle bullying? Someone that's experienced bullying sees it in a different world.
Yeah. I definitely would say inclusion is a massive one. And I know we're already going to hear that we are inclusive. Well, you're not, because if you were inclusive, there wouldn't be bullying, because the kids that are bullied would have ideas to how to stop it. You see bullying, but you don't go up to that child who's being bullied and say, how can we fix this? How can we help you and stop this? They just say, stay away. Don't go near them. It's hard. I think inclusion will be a massive one, because you include the students, and it's not just including them to help stop bullying, it's including them all together, like including them with the schoolwork and including them with the teachers when they do activities, and actually trying to understand them. Like, when someone's getting bullied, you don't ask them why they're getting bullied.
Mm.
And usually they'll say, oh, I'm getting bullied because they want to bully me. No, why are they bullying you? And what do you think is the issue? If someone had said to me, why are you getting bullied? I would say, well, they're bullying me because I have different hair color and I wear something different to what they wear. So how do we fix this is by being inclusive and including them and saying, right, well, we're going to do a day where we all have to come to school in funky outfits.
Mm.
What are you going to bully then? Because everyone's in a funky outfit. Are you going to go around and bully everyone?
Mm.
You're also in a funky outfit. Like, it's hard. It's very hard.
What did you like about school?
I definitely loved English. I loved writing, and that's always been something I've really liked.
Mm.
Writing. I think it's because it's another way to understand and see someone for who they are
Mm.
and what their world's like without them actually having to say it. Because I know saying things and speaking up is so hard, but when it's written down and you show someone else, like, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to worry about messing up your words or stumbling or stuttering or not making eye contact because they're reading it. And then it's their thoughts.
Mm.
And it's how they respond to it is a very big thing as well.
You know, you being in school still, what do you feel like? Why would you say a lot of the youth are disconnected from school and hate school? Because we could see the decline of, dropouts, and you yourself being in school. What do you feel like, speaking to other students? What do they tell you about school? Why are they so disconnected from school?
So I do it online now, but when I went to school, so I was doing a couple of days at school. When I went to school, I didn't really hang out with anyone because I just didn't want to hear the drama. But I heard a lot of, I don't like that teacher. They say this to me. They say that I can't fiddle with my pen or listen to music while I'm doing my work, stuff like that. Well, why can't they listen to music while they're doing their work? They're doing their work. It's not like the music is telling them how to do their work. And I always hear the stuff about, like, safety plans and stuff like that at school. I can't go on that side of the school, but all my friends are over there, but I have to stay over here because I can't go over there. That's the other person's side of the school. Well, great. Now the school has implemented a safety plan and also left a child alone with no friends.
Mm.
I hear that quite a lot, and personally I understand that one a lot because when I was there I had to have lots of safety plans put in place to keep me away from other students and keep other students away from me, and it definitely made me lose a lot of friendships.
I was going to ask, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, it lost me a lot of friendships, but at the end of the day, if they're not gonna hang out with me where I am to be safe, then it's not a good friendship. They're not over on my side of the school hanging out with me and they know that I can't go over there. Then it's not a good friendship.
Mm. How important is a strong family? Be supporting.
Family.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to have a strong family, but I know there's a lot of people out there, and I know there's a lot of people that survive without their family and are better off without their family. I think it's important. I think it teaches you how to love and what love is in a stronger way. And I think if they had a strong family that supported and loved, then friendships and, like, being at school with students would also show that love and connection and support. Because there's heaps of people that have families that show they're loving and supporting, but then at home they might not be.
Mm.
It's very hard. I think family is a very hard topic because there's so many situations that could go wrong and it's always misjudged. So I think it's not my place to say that you should have a loving family and you should have a loving family and your parents shouldn't do that, because at the end of the day, they're adults. They should know what's right and wrong. And they're still learning how to be adults and parents, but they should know they're right and wrong. It's wrong to leave your child home alone. It's wrong to not feed them. It's wrong to not implement it's wrong to not implement the right, what's the word I'm looking for? The right consequences for the kids when they muck up. And I think consequences are a big thing that needs to happen, because a lot of parents these days, their kid will do something wrong and they just go, not my child. My child wouldn't do that. But they did.
Yeah. And there's a lot of disconnection, I've realised, with young kids and their parents.
I agree.
A lot. How much does that impact?
That impacts, I think if I went to school and asked how many of the kids actually tell their parents the truth about who they hang out with, what they do, trouble they get in, half of them would say, I don't tell my parents. I used to have a friend that would sneak out, and she said, I don't tell my parents. If I wanted to go out at 10 o'clock at night and said to my mum, can I go out? I would say, can I go out? And it's either a yes or a no. Like, there's a yes or a no. And I don't personally see anything wrong with going out at night time. I see that there's dangers. But if you know you're going to be safe and the people you're with are safe, then I don't see anything wrong with that. But I understand and respect the yes and no. Like, a no is something that there's always a reason behind it, and they don't have to explain that to you. And I think a lot of kids say that my parents always say no, so I don't ask anymore, I just go out. Or I just sneak out and they don't know. And it's like, well, why? Because what if you go out and they don't know and something happens to you? It's something that you can definitely regret.
Do you feel like a lot of these youngsters, actually, why do you feel like a lot of these youngsters can't connect with their family and they're very afraid to share where they're going or what they're doing? Because you mentioned that majority of them don't tell their parents anything.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think there's two reasons. There's heaps of reasons, but two main reasons I hear quite a lot is always like judgment. Their parents are going to judge them for doing something wrong or doing something they shouldn't be doing. And then discipline. Like, I think they know it's wrong, so they're not going to ask about it because then they can't get disciplined for it if their parents don't find out. Like, you wouldn't say to your mum, hey mum, can I go out and get in a fight? You'd just go do it, because then there's no discipline unless you come home with, like, unless they know or find out, and unless you come home and tell them, you can't get disciplined for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. That connection is lost between parents, and it's so important that we bring it back where a child can go to their parents, their mum and dad, and tell them, look, I'm very lonely.
Yeah.
I have no friends. I've done something wrong. I've smoked a cigarette. I've drank alcohol. Sit down with their parents and not feel like their parents are going to judge them and put them in jail. Where their parents can sit as friends and talk to them. We've lost that touch with our children, and that's why children have become very secretive. Talking about family, what does this incredible person mean to you? Your mother.
My mother. Oh, I could go on for days. My mum has always been there, and I'm very open and honest with my mum. I tell her most things, like mostly everything. But she's been there through everything. She hasn't left. We have our times, we bicker, but who doesn't? It's like siblings. You fight with your siblings, you bicker with your parents. It's how it is. I know my mother's always there, and I think I would like to always be there for her too.
Parents are special,
They are.
especially when you got a solid person like your mother behind you. You become untouchable
Mhm.
because they're a safe place,
Mhm.
you know. And when you have an incredible person like your mother around, you feel like you're ahead of time,
Mhm.
you know. Even when you feel lonely, she covers that loneliness for you.
Yeah.
So it's the importance of having that good relationship with your parents, but at the same time, there's so many parents that are disconnected from their children. What do you do then when you have no connection with your parents?
I think I know a person who is very disconnected from their parents, and they found connection in older people who are not very safe and nice people. And I say to them, it's not a good idea. Maybe you should try and find someone nicer, some other people who are friendlier and will protect you in a good way and not in a way where they're going to go and stab someone.
Hmm.
And they say, well, they care for me. And because it's like the first time they've actually had someone who cares, they're like, great, you're not leaving my side. I'm with you forever. You're stuck with me.
Hmm.
And it's very hard like that. And I have a lot of friends who are like that, in that situation where they go out and they fight and they're in trouble. And they're really nice people. It's just they're in that sticky situation where they're stuck being in trouble. And because they're already labelled that, well, why not be that?
Hmm.
I had that issue of being labelled something, and then I was like, well, if that's what you're going to label me, that's what I'm going to do. And then I realised I don't want to be this person. You labelled me this, and I listened to you, and I don't like this. I don't like this label. I don't like what I've become or who I am being. Why am I listening to you when you're not being nice to me?
Do you feel like a lot of people judge youth for crime?
Mhm.
And they say, oh, they're silly and they're running amok and they're causing all this mischief and chaos. Do you feel like these young youth choose to be that way, or is it life teaches them and all the traumas they deal with?
I think it's a bit of both.
Mm.
I think it really is. Because there's those people like myself who get in trouble with the law, and it's for good reasons. I used to have a saying, and it was, I wouldn't fight someone unless I had a reason for it. And the reason wasn't ever something silly like, oh, they looked at me bad or they said something rude to me. It was, they're making my mental health so bad that I need to stand up for myself.
Mm.
And I never had, because what I went through in primary school, I never had that availability to go to an adult at school or go to someone out in the community and be like, hey, I'm in trouble and I need these people to stop making my mental health so bad. So I had to stick up for myself and fight for myself. And with situations like that, it's not something I wanted to choose, but it's something I felt like I had to do
Mm.
to be able to stop what was happening. It was either stop them or they're going to stop me.
Going back to, you experiencing bullying in your days, how much did that contribute to you being naughty? Because, we all know, we see it. Oh, look at him being naughty. Look at him being violent. But we don't stop and figure out the reason they're like this. Why they angry? Why were you angry?
I still am a very angry person, but I have changed my anger from using my fist to using my words.
Powerful.
And there was a situation, so I was getting bashed and my younger sister was getting bullied, and These girls use the same sayings, oh, we're going to get you gang bashed, we're going to get you bashed. So I went and seeked out this girl and put a stop to it and was violent and then got charged and was out on bail. And I just didn't want to see my little sister in the same situation I was in.
Mm.
So again, that leads back to my school and the teachers failing their duty of care on me, thinking that they're going to fail the same duty of care on my younger sister, so I have to fix it.
So you almost become a defender, a
Yeah.
guardian, like you are for your younger brother
Mm-hmm.
and your sister.
Mm-hmm.
What do you love about both of them?
My younger sister, oh, so I have two younger sisters and an older sister, and I have my younger brother. They all have their own specialties and their own flaws. But I think altogether, when it comes to times, we stick together.
Mm.
We're there for each other. And we all have our different ways of being there for each other. And I think it's pretty special. I think no matter what, if we can't go to our parents one day, we can go to each other.
Mm. And that's the beauty of family.
It is.
What is some advice to the youth that are out there suffering loneliness, depression, bullying? What is a message from you to them? What is something you want to tell them?
It's not easy. And the road to getting better is never easier.
Mm.
Whether it's addiction, whether it's being in trouble with the law, the school system, it's never easy to get better. But it's definitely worth it. It's worth getting better. It's worth using your words to be loud and speak your truth and be honest than it is to be sitting behind bars, to be in the ground. Or it's like your voice matters. And even if it's just one or two people that listen, you're being heard.
Yeah, it is. The youth are the next generation and they have powerful voices, just like you have a powerful voice. And I've sat here as a 30-year-old man and I've actually learned some incredible stuff just sitting here and listening to you. You being, younger and, you got your experience in life, some wisdom, It's interesting what we learn from people that we can also learn from youngsters. And I think that's where we're failing as a humanity, that we're not asking some of these children to challenge us, to get into their world. What are they experiencing? What are they thinking? What do they love? What do you love about life?
Oh, I love a lot of things about life. If you had asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said nothing.
Mm.
But I think the main thing I love about life at the moment is myself. I have a voice, I'm being heard, I'm standing strong, and I have people behind me to back me up. So I think that's the main thing I love about life at the moment, is that I'm living it.
It's beautiful if you see it as such. The moment you see life as dark and lonely, then your life becomes very lonely.
I agree.
So you've got your whole life ahead, and it's so incredible to sit down and listen to how you've created this journey, how you've understood yourself, how you've evolved, how you've tackled certain issues, and you still are tackling certain issues. Do you still face bullying as much as you were back in the days, or is it slowed down, would you say?
It's definitely slowed down. I think if I let the bullies have a chance, it could get as worse as it was. But with me having my voice and standing strong and knowing that these bullies don't have an effect on me anymore, it's you say what you say and oh well. It's slowed down and they've realised she's not upset about it. So I give up, I'll just go to the next person.
Mm.
I think ending up having that I don't care attitude works.
Yeah.
But it's not something you want to have.
Why?
Well, I have that I don't care attitude, and it's great when you try to get bullied or someone says something negative to you. It's like, well, I don't care. And it's hard because if someone's coming to you with an exciting story and it's someone you love and they're trying to tell you something they care about, it's hard because you're sitting there thinking, I don't care. That, like, you did that. That's great for you, but I don't care. Why are you telling me?
It's a good way of explaining it.
And
yeah.
and I really struggle with that because, like, the other day, my sister came up to me and she was like, oh, this happened and I'm so excited. And I was like, okay. What do you want me to say? Like, okay. It's really, and I wish I could be excited for them and I could be there and be like, I'm so proud of you. Good job. Like, I know I need to say that, so I'll say that. But deep down, I don't really care. That's something you've done. It's hard.
It's interesting how you explain that. I really like that. What is the future for you?
I want to be a paramedic. And that's been my dream since I was little. So I want to be a paramedic, but I want to continue with making my voice heard and making those out there that struggle and think they're also alone heard. Because I think loneliness is just a thought. I don't think it's actually something that happens, because you might feel lonely and you might have no one, but there's someone else out there who feels the exact same. And if you met them, then you wouldn't be lonely. It's just a thought, because if you sit there and go, oh, I'm lonely, and you don't make effort to not be lonely. There was a boy not long ago. Sorry, I'm changing the subject.
That's okay.
There was a boy not long ago on Facebook, and he came down here and he's posted on Facebook. He was around my age, and he posted on Facebook and he goes, I've just moved down here. I have no friends. I know absolutely no one. I'm lonely. I've been sitting in the house for a week. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, look, I have barely any friends. I play soccer. Come down to the soccer oval. We'll kick a soccer ball. It never happened, but it's the fact that I reached out. I was like, look, I have barely any friends. You have no one. I'm right here. And me and him still talk sometimes, but he has friends now. And I said to him, it's great you've put it out there, but people that are lonely aren't going to message you and be like, look, I'm lonely too. Because lonely people, they find it really hard to make effort. Because it's like, well, I'm lonely and I've already tried. I tried 3 times and they didn't want to be my friend, so I give up now. And that's definitely something I would do. If I was lonely, I would just give up if I couldn't do it. And it's, as I said to him, you have to make the effort too. You can't just sit here and be like, okay, I'm lonely. Someone will come to me eventually and make me not lonely. It doesn't work that way. You can't go to work and do nothing and expect money. It's definitely something you have to work for, and I think you have to work for everything. Some days it's easy, some days it's hard. Sometimes you do nothing, but every day you work for it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favourite poem?
I have heaps of poems. I'm going to need a new book soon.
What's your favourite poem?
I don't know, probably some of the ones about my brother. I have a couple about my brother. I definitely have ones I like. About myself, there's the one I read on Parliament Steps, and then there's one that I read at the About Time for Connection. That was a really good one, but I don't have many really deep ones about myself. I have ones that explain what I've been through and explain how to fix issues and what you see on the outside, but I don't have any that are really deep about me, because I find it really hard to talk about it, because as I said before, I've blocked most of that part of my life out. My life now is, the future's gone, I need to look forward, because I can't remember any of it. Bad things for me just end up behind a brick wall in the back of my head, and I forget it.
And I think it's a positive way of thinking, because the moment you think about your past, it brings you down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you are on the right track by just disconnecting from it and just looking forward.
You don't look back as you're walking forward.
That's a good way of looking at it. This person is incredible. Mind-blowing. I think she's going to be greater than a paramedic. You got another one you want to share with me?
Oh, I'll have a look.
Give me one about the young man.
Okay. This one here, 1,000 Broken Moments, is one that became very popular on my poem page, actually. Got a lot of likes and views for that one.
I hope we can inspire some youngsters out there to start creating poems and write and learn. And here we go.
Okay, it's a little bit long.
That's okay.
Sent home again. They call it support, but they never stay. They nod and they smile, then send him away. An 8-year-old boy with a storm in his chest, trying his hardest but never gets rest. They talk about plans and steps to be made, but his laughter and light starts to slowly fade. The classroom's too loud, the world's too bright, but no one helps him make it right. He flaps when he's nervous, he cries when it's loud. They whisper his name, too harsh, too proud. They labelled him naughty, difficult and wild, but all I see is a beautiful child. He just needs care, a place he belongs, not punishment for what's never been wronged. They send him home when he's too much to take, leaving behind the pieces they break. He wants to learn, but they close that door, say maybe next week like they've said before. His backpack sits still, untouched by the day, while other kids laugh and run out to play. He asks me softly, did I do bad? And my heart shatters for the life he's had. Because a system that fails to see his light is the one that dims it day and night. He's not problem, they just won't bend. They call it help, but it's just the end. So I'll fight for his voice till someone hears, through meetings, letters, and silent tears. He's an 8-year-old boy, and they've already shown that when he needs love, they'll send him home. But one day they'll see the fire he hides, the strength that blooms where care divides. They'll read the words he never could say in the quiet battles he fights every day. No paper or plan could ever define the heart of a boy so fierce, so defiant. He's thunder and gentleness all at once, a warrior child the world misjudged once. And when he grows, they'll look and regret the spark they ignored, the boy they forget. For every too much, he'll rise above, providing their failure power by love. I'll stand beside him no matter the storm, while he teaches the world what it means to transform. Because he is not broken, not wrong, not less. He's a masterpiece born from chaos and stress. And if the system won't open the door, we'll build our own paths and lock theirs no more.
It's a really deep one. Very deep. It's very, very deep in its own world. I have a very deep and love and affection for disability people, because I have someone that's in my world that has a disability, and it reaches the core of the heart, It's interesting when you're sitting there and you're writing something like this is very profound, very powerful.
Yes, it definitely could write a poem about anyone, but it hits home when you write it about someone you care for.
What do you feel like it hits differently?
I could write a poem about anyone, and it could be not even knowing them. But when you know them and you understand what they've been through, and you understand, and you understand because they're a part of your life, and you watch and you see how it destroys and can mentally and physically stop you from doing things you love, and you can see it all happening in front of you. It's sad, and it's definitely a very hard way to look at things.
What is a message from you to two people? The one that's experiencing bullying and the one that's bullying.
The one that's experiencing bullying, my message is it doesn't stop, but it gets to the point where it gets to the point where you can understand and know that what they're doing isn't because of you. It's because they have their issues and they're trying to find someone else to take it out on. You are stronger than they are. You have your power and they have their power. But you are much stronger. You are always stronger than you think you are. And to the bullies, I don't have much to say, but really, the only thing I really have to say is why. And it comes back to that, what I was talking about earlier. How does someone answer what why means? And how does someone understand what it means? So I guess why is really all I have to say to people that bully.
It's very interesting the way you said that, that they have their own issues.
Mm.
I find it very powerful. Despite you experienced bullying throughout your teens, you still look back and say they had their own issues, they had their own wars.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these guys have issues, and their bullying is pretty much their misunderstanding of life.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful the way you explain that. That you still feel sorry for some of these people.
They're still human. They still have a heart. They still have a brain. They just choose to use it wrong.
Their brain needs to be studied. That's incredible. Very, very powerful. And what is a beautiful message you'd like to say to your mum? Your incredible mum.
You won't be going in a nursing home.
she's gonna have you back all the way.
She had mine.
Yeah. That's powerful.
I don't know. I think I have a little poem in here for my mum, and I've given it to her. And I know when she was going through a hard time, she read it quite a lot actually, because I wrote it down. I wrote it down in my book, and then I wrote it down on a little piece of paper and gave it to her as well. But I think the only really things I have to say to her is thank you, I guess. And people would say, well, why are you thanking your mum? She brought you into this life, so that's how she has to be a mum. But she doesn't. She could have easily just left. She could have easily just been like, you were naughty, I don't want you anymore. She could have easily just not had me. But she's still here. She still stands here despite all her issues herself and her own mental problems and her own life going on around her. She's still here for all 5 of us kids. She's still doing her best.
Very deep, very emotional. You are a special person with a special future, and I hope you conquer all your goals and you become an incredible advocate against bullying, and your brother grows up to be an incredible human being, and you look back and say, that's my superstar, you and your sister and your family. You are an incredible talented person, and I think you have a bright future with many incredible people that will be around you, and you're going to be an incredible paramedic and save a lot of people, and aim for the sky and beyond. There's stars, there's galaxies out there, there's the entire world that's all yours to grab. I'm actually speechless on the mindset you have and the positivity and the discipline and the way you think, and it's incredible. And we hope that many young people out there that are watching will listen and learn from your experience and your talent and your understanding of life. What would you leave a message to the world now that we can look back and say, this was you 5 years ago, this was you 10 years ago, this was your message? What would it be?
My message goes off something that happened a couple of days ago. A lady that I'm going to go speak with, she said to me, how much do you cost to talk about your life And I said to her, nothing. I don't want anything. I just want my voice heard. So don't sit there and let people think that you're worth less because I'm sitting here and letting my voice be heard to everyone and speaking my voice for everyone for nothing, because you all are worth more than any coin.
Mm-hmm.
You mean so much. Everyone means so much. I mean so much that there's no amount of dollar that you can put on it. I just want my voice heard and to make sure everyone lives the life they want.
Very powerful. Very, very powerful. And like I said, you are incredible. Your fire has been lit. Go conquer the world with it. Go save people. It's an inspiration for me to sit here, and it's an honor to be listening to you. And thank you for bringing this incredible person on and learning. It's been a journey, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
I did.
You know, and shout out to Jarvis, and shout out to your lovely, incredible brother and your family and your sisters. You guys rock, and the world is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.